In today's video, I give you 10 tips as your roommate survival guide for the Netherlands. Hey guys, my name is Manisha Agarwal and you're watching Hoi Nederland, the survival guide of the Netherlands from a university student to a university student. Now, if you've just moved to the Netherlands and you feel like it's a bit nerve-wracking to make friends with your roommates around you, don't worry, it's never too late. You can always make friends. And in this video, I'm going to give you guys 10 tips to have the best roommate experience in the student house that you're living in or the apartment that you have. Now, I personally have lived in both situations, so that's why I think I'm credible enough to give you guys tips. I've lived in an international student house with 40 students, but I've also lived in an apartment with only 2 people. I've also had roommates as friends. I've also had roommates who are my best friends from school. I've had roommates who are complete strangers from me. I've had roommates who are international students. And I've also had roommates who are Dutch students who became my very close friends. Be it in an apartment or an international student house, this is a roommate guide you need. The first thing you should know about being roommates is that do not expect these roommates to be your best friends from day one. All of the students are basically living together and you guys will eventually become good friends. But it is not necessary that you guys become best friends. Now, I was blessed that my bestest friends are my roommates as well. But sometimes you just gotta be lucky. Sometimes you could have really bad experiences with roommates and have complete fights every single day. But every experience is different. So please don't expect that your roommates are gonna be your best friends or your neighbors are gonna be your best friends. Number 2, set up a schedule that you guys have so that you guys don't constantly interfere with each other. Be it a cleaning schedule, be it a cooking schedule, be it a showering schedule. All of the students end up having a very same routine. So in the morning, it can be quite a race to get to the shower or the kitchen, or in general, just going up and down in the corridor. So make sure that you guys have a perfect schedule for everything you're doing. This is just that you guys are more organized as roommates and that you guys don't bump into each other and give yourself the personal space in the morning that you guys need. And this is also applicable for nighttime because sometimes students prefer to have a night shower, some prefer to have a morning shower, so keep that into consideration when making schedules. And if you guys want to cook together as roommates, schedule that as well in. If you guys want to cook separately, make sure you're not bumping into each other because everybody is living together. So living together means you guys have to make your own rules as a house and work around it. Tip number 3, alarm etiquette. Now this is something that I've personally experienced and I'm also kind of guilty of doing. But basically, make sure that when you guys have alarms for yourself, it does not disturb your other roommates or flatmates or housemates. I've had my roommates come up knocking on my door because my alarm was that loud, so I'm really sorry for that. But yes, definitely keep into consideration that your alarms can ring off, be it on the phone or a proper alarm clock, but make sure that it's not too loud, that it goes through the other roommate and you disturb their sleep as well because everybody needs their sleep. And if you're somebody who wakes up really early in the morning, make sure that you're not disturbing everybody else around you. So basically set alarms to a point where it's not too loud for your neighbors, but it's loud enough for you to wake up because the Dutch housing have very thin walls. So it's not very nice that your neighbors have to wake up to an alarm that they can't even stop themselves without having to knock on your door. Tip number 4, shared fridges and common areas is basically the most possible areas where food will get stolen. Bear that in mind, but your best option would be to label all of your food items or your boxes. And if you have an instance where food has been stolen or cutlery has gone missing, definitely contact your residence assistants. They're there to help you. So don't hesitate to ask them anything and don't hesitate to talk it out with your roommates, but don't play the blame game because everybody's students and everybody has very similar groceries, so it could definitely be just a mistake. And if the issue doesn't get resolved by itself, then you can always have the option to talk to the landlord directly and maybe they can help sort it out for you. Speaking of food and fridges, tip number 5 is do not split grocery costs, especially because every student has a different amount of consumption. People buy different kind of spices and condiments and whatever. So it's very hard to track the amount of consumption per student. And it's kind of unfair that somebody does all the groceries for one time and then somebody else is eating less than that. So the best option would be for you to get your own groceries and do not split it with your roommates. You could maybe split the cost of getting plates and spoons and cutlery, that kind of stuff, if you guys are going to be sharing it. But then make sure to keep it clean and wash it so that they can also use it, and don't leave dirty dishes in the sink. That's very gross. But yeah, if you guys want to split groceries, by all means go ahead, but I would personally recommend not to do it. It's not worth it, because let's say you're gonna go early morning for breakfast, or you have an exam or whatever, and you're really craving milk and cereal, and you go to the kitchen and you see that the fridge has no more milk. What you gonna do then? Because you split the groceries, it's basically evened out, so it doesn't matter who consumed more. Basically, it's gone. So in that case, I would definitely say get your own groceries, and especially with coronavirus around, you do not want to share anything, just to be safe and just to have like less germs and less people touching your stuff. Label everything. If you need, get a label maker from home or from the closest craft store. As stupid as it sounds, but label everything so that at least you know that your stuff it actually belongs to you, and that if someone has stolen it, they can see it. For example, my own cutlery, I've actually got them lasered in with my initials on, so if somebody does steal it, there's like a metal inscription of my name on there, so I know where it is and I know that it's mine. So this doesn't have to be said, but tip number 6, keep the house clean, keep the common areas clean. Honestly, you do not want to be that roommate that's the messy one. It's a bit annoying if you don't have your roommates cleaning up after themselves, but definitely clean up after yourself. It's only going to make you happier, and also it's going to keep the house nice and clean. Especially during corona times, you do not want to randomly get a sickness from just having dirty dishes in the sink. So definitely do your dishes after you're done, or while you're cooking. That's the best thing I could ever suggest, is while you're cooking, just do your dishes on the side, so that once you're done cooking, your dishes are also clean. Nothing needs to be done ever. If you do not want to do that, you can definitely set up a cleaning schedule, as I mentioned before, so that each roommate basically takes turns to clean the common spaces, so you don't feel like you're doing all the cleaning yourself. So keep the toilets clean, keep the showers clean, keep the corridors clean, and keep the kitchen space the most clean. So this way you guys avoid getting each other sick, you guys avoid getting bugs and all the other grimy stuff that you don't want in the kitchen, and it smells nice. So when you guys want to go cook, you can have a nice clean kitchen to come to. Tip number 7 would be to first make sure that before you sign up your lease for your rental agency or your room, that it's a co-ed room or it's not a co-ed room, because this can be quite a shock when you come there for the first time. Now, I personally signed up for a co-ed dorm because I thought it'd be more fun, and it definitely is more fun, but I'm also right now living in an all-girls house as well. So there are pros and cons to everything, but make sure you check that before, because in a co-ed dorm, honestly, theft is more common just because everyone's kind of open and trying to be as cool and fun and whatever as possible. But please be safe, because at the end of the day, these are strangers. So you're letting strangers into your room. So I would suggest that don't let anybody inside your room, or keep your valuables locked up in your cupboard when you have guests over. Theft in these kind of places is so common to a point that trying to file a complaint is kind of not gonna work. So be safe, and then keep all of your valuables close to you or lock them up. And when you have guests over, make sure that you trust them, because trust is very important as roommates as well. So if you don't trust somebody, don't call them home, or if you really want to meet up with a group of people, then definitely meet in the common area so that all your valuables are safe in your room. Speaking of theft and trust, please, please, please lock your doors. Do not leave your key hanging out of the door in case you're going to forget your key when you get out. It's very common that there are break-ins in these kind of huge buildings like that, not just by other fellow students, but even outsiders can break in. So definitely keep your room doors locked. If you want, you can also invest in changing your lock and then changing it back after your contract is over. Get a safe in your room. I know I had one to keep my passport and my other valuable stuff as well. Keep this as an extra security measure. Whenever I would leave my house, especially when I'm going to campus for during a long day, I would take my laptop and my other expensive valuable gadgets, put them in my cupboard, and have a key lock with it. And I lock that inside just so that I'm safe, that during the day, in case there is a break-in, that my valuables are safe. And if a thief does come inside, there's nothing you really can steal, because we're students. We don't have that kind of expensive stuff at home. So what you gonna take? A book? But yeah, theft is very common. So please make sure that you have good locks and that they're good quality locks. And if you don't trust the auto key systems, you can definitely ask your landlord or your RA for a better lock, or they can provide with a better solution that can help you protect your stuff. The next thing that is also something you really can avoid at these kind of housing areas, or even otherwise in other normal houses, is the university hookup culture. Now, this is something that if you are personally against or you do not like it, please talk to your roommates about this. Set your boundaries and make sure that it doesn't disturb you and doesn't disturb them. It is something that is common, you really can't avoid it, but if you're not comfy with it, definitely take it up with the RA or your landlord, and maybe then they can come up with a solution that might help you feel safe. My last point would be that do not make your best friends your roommates. Trust me, I personally had that experience where I lost a best friend by making her my roommate, because in class we were so good, we had the same kind of schedules, we had the same interests, so I thought this would be perfect to have her as a roommate. But honestly, a best friend, you do not know their habits when they're best friends. Once they become roommates, they have a whole other side to them, which you do not know as best friends. So living with the best friend and just keeping them as your best friend in class is a whole different thing. There were obviously issues I don't want to talk about like in detail, but there were definitely issues that were unresolvable because of basically difference in cultures and different habits. So that kind of became a bit annoying, to a point where basically our friendship fizzled out. Unfortunately, that's what happens. But just for you to keep your friends, especially at university, don't make your best friends your roommates. You could be the lucky ones that you have best friends who are awesome as roommates as well, and that's so good for you. But just to be safe, especially if you're just starting out in university, give it some time. Don't rush into making your best friends your roommates, because they're always going to be there. They're not going to go anywhere. But you'd rather have roommates who are honestly locally Dutch, especially because that's the only way and the best way you can integrate into the Dutch society better. I actually have a blog on how to integrate into the Dutch society much better, so definitely check that out. But yeah, if you want to integrate, having a Dutch roommate is the best option. They can talk to you in Dutch, you can help brush up your Dutch, you can also exchange culture, which is super cool, because honestly, I've never enjoyed having Dutch pancakes for breakfast more than my Indian breakfasts. So yeah, thanks to my Dutch roommates for introducing me to the Dutch pancakes. It's the best invention ever. But yeah, definitely make sure that when you're choosing roommates, or especially when you have hospice for picking a new roommates who are complete strangers, keep in mind that these people are like different cultures, or different religions, they're from different backgrounds. So definitely be open-minded and just enjoy being a roommate, having roommates, because this is something that nobody can ever take away from you, because it's a very integral part of your university experience. And this is basically the friends you're going to be closest to, who are your family, because you're away from home. So definitely keep your roommates as your very close friends. Hey guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel in the link down below. I know being a roommate for the first time away from home can be a bit daunting, but I hope that this roommate guide helped you and gave you a few tips and tricks on how to be a better roommate. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below how your experience was of being a roommate, or your very first experience of moving away from home and living with maybe 10-20 people in one house. I will see you guys in my next video. Until then, bye!